wrestling fans, welcome to One Wing Wrestling, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world-class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. I'm your host, Christian and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Cutbush. Bill, how's it going?
It is going. It is going. It is Tuesday because Monday was Canadian Thanksgiving. So, for all of you Americans, Thanksgiving in Canada happens in October and we get a Monday off. It's not nearly as elaborate as your Thanksgiving, but we do get a Thanksgiving. And the family on Sunday got together for a very large group and a very large meal. We could have fed an army with all that food, but it was a good time. You were there too, Krishna.
I was. And yeah, it was, again, as normal, lots and lots of food. Just too much choices, or too many choices, I should say. And yeah, it was good. It was just a family there, and it was a lot. That's all I can say is, like, after I ate, I was just kind of like, man, I can't do anything. I'm just, oh, and the thing is, you ate and you still were kind of like, I didn't even touch half the things that were there, right? I don't want dessert. I don't want anything else. I just want to lie here and just have my food digest, right? It's so much.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And it was an insane amount of food. And I mean, let's keep in mind there were so many leftovers and we literally filled 3 long tables of people. That's how big
Yeah.
the family is. So, it was quite the time. It was good times. It was very filling. It took me like 24 hours to digest the food. So,
Same.
yeah. Anyway, but that means I had lots of time to lie down and watch wrestling, right?
I
So,
see.
and this is our show where you're going to be able to find the elite worldwide. We're going to give you news updates today. We're going to talk about some of our recommended matches. We're going to give you our wrestlers of the week, and I have a spotlight for you today. So,
Nice.
this is going to be a good episode. I think we've got a lot to talk about, and I think it's going to be a good. I've got a positive feeling today, Krishna. Positivity. That's the theme today. I have such a good feeling about today's show. There are so many fun things I want to talk
Ooh.
about. I don't feel a lot of negativity hovering in the air right now.
Wait. We're talking about AEW and no negativity swirling
Oh, I'm
around.
talking about stuff that isn't AEW. Don't worry about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Okay,
I've got I've
that
got lots
makes
to talk about.
sense.
As we are telling you guys here on One Winged Wrestling, we're bringing the elite to you, and the elite are worldwide. I love AEW. Right now, it's my favorite promotion. But if it died tomorrow, I do not have to go back to the WWE. There is
True.
wrestling all over the world that is amazing, and I will keep
Very
watching it.
true. Very true.
Yeah, so we do have some news stories to get into, don't we?
Yeah.
Couple anyway. Well, one major one. And I mean, look, we begin with positivity. John Moxley has
Yeah.
renewed his or extended his contract with AEW for 5 years. Not one, not two, not three, five. Now, if that
Five
isn't
years.
confidence that Tony Khan is showing in his product, I don't know what is. And if that isn't confidence that John Moxley is showing in AEW, I don't know what is. Because my God, if that guy had, like, do you have any idea the wheelbarrow of money that Triple H would have rolled up to John Moxley? Could you imagine if he'd signed with WWE?
Yeah. And that's one thing. Sorry, Bill. Do you want to talk more about the
Oh
contract?
no,
Any
please go
details?
right ahead.
Okay.
No, go right
Yeah.
ahead.
So that's one thing I was thinking about today, right? Because I think you messaged me this news on Saturday or
Yeah, I
Sunday.
think so. It was somewhere in that neighborhood.
Somewhere
Yeah.
that guys, long weekend, we're lost on days here. And I said to you, I said, this is probably the best news I've heard in a very
Mhm.
long time when it comes to AEW. And I was being completely honest. Um, you know, we talk about John Moxley a lot, of how he's really stepped into the limelight in AEW. He wasn't really our best, like, we weren't the greatest John Moxley fans when he joined AEW. And we got to remember, we shouldn't say joined AEW. He's one of the AEW originals. So let's not get that twisted a bit,
Mhm.
because he showed up on the first AEW episode of Dynamite that they had and attacked Kenny Omega. But
Yes. Well,
yeah,
don't forget he
so
attacked him at the pay-per-view before
yes,
that.
yes, yes. And then he attacked him again.
Mhm.
So he wasn't like a WWE transfer, I should say, that just came over from WWE afterwards. No, he's an AEW originals. That's one thing.
Mhm.
And then think about, the money that was getting thrown around. And I don't think John Moxley was getting paid top dollar. You know what I mean? Like, I think there were people there who probably like we'll talk about like the CM Punks and stuff like that. Then they came in, they got paid top dollar because they were the biggest stars. I think John Moxley now is getting paid, and he deservingly so is getting paid the money he deserves, and he is showing the confidence he has in this company, right? He actually enjoys just working for AEW. He said multiple times he doesn't want to go back to WWE at any point, right? I think honestly, like the details that came out, he's going to be a mentor or a coach, and so which is needed. Like if there's one back room that needs this right now, it's the AEW back room, right? So I'm very happy that he signed. I think this is like a statement that, you know, like the ship is not burning, it's not sinking or anything like that. Like, guys, like that's what's been everything that's been on, you know, on the dirt list or dirt sheets recently, right? Like AEW is sinking, like they're failing, they're gonna fail. So this is kind of him putting his confidence back into like people who might be interested still in like renewing contracts and so forth. Like, hey, as we said, right, the grass is not greener on the other side, and if you want to go, we've said it multiple times, go. But this was one of those, I believe in AEW, I believe in Tony Khan. I'm in this for the long run. And I know 5 years, some people like working somewhere 5 years doesn't seem that long. 5 years is a long time for wrestling, right? So I'm very, very happy. Like, again, as I said, this news was kind of like highlight of the week, wrestling wise. And I was just happy that he signed.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. This was great news. You know, because in all honesty, he could have got a bucket load thrown at him to go somewhere else, and I'm sure he got a bucket load thrown at him by Tony Khan. But let's not kid ourselves. But you're right, he is happy here, and what he's got here is something that he said himself that he's wanted for a long time, and that's to really build up his legacy in wrestling, his legend status. Because let's face it, he has built himself up to the point in the last few years where John Moxley is synonymous with one of the top wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
You know, he's built himself up in some of the indies he's gone to, New Japan, and now especially the way that they've handed him the ball recently. He was the guy they chose to lead the company out of this crap that happened.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
And he's taken that ball and he's run with it. He's not uncomfortable sending messages to the locker room, as we learned last week.
Yep.
So, you know, he is an absolute, like, just the perfect guy, heart and soul, to be heading up your company right now. Him signing for the 5 years is it was just great news. I read that. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
An interesting part of the contract was that he will be restricted to working with AEW and its partners. And, you know, that's going to keep him out of things like GCW, where he's been, you know, occasionally wrestling Nick Gage. Because
Which, you know what, as we said, you know, John, you don't need to do all these hardcore matches all the time. Like, some of my favorite John Moxley matches are not hardcore matches. They're legit matches where he's actually wrestling really well and he's wrestling my type of wrestling. I love those matches. He doesn't need to do all these crazy things. I don't need to see that. This bodes well as I was thinking about this, is that, you know, he's restricted to only partnerships, whoever AEW's partnered with. We know AEW and New Japan are partnered together. We already know that, but that could expand at any point. So at any point in 5 years, there could be contracts, there could be agreements with AEW and other organizations, and he's allowed to wrestle there. That's literally it, right? Yep. So I saw that, and at first I was like, oh, why did he agree to this? Like, you know, he likes moving around, but my thought was that AEW doesn't really restrict him on anything. So not much is really changing here.
No, that's quite true. Other than the fact that he won't be wrestling some of these smaller independents right now, which, you know, like, it kind of hurts those independents, but I mean, we'd like a healthy John Moxley.
Yes.
You know,
correct.
And, you know, if you're going to pick up the ball and carry it with the company, and I guess he wouldn't have signed the contract if he wasn't comfortable making that sacrifice right now. Right.
Yeah.
And he's always said that when he's done with AEW, what he really wants to do is just go and work independent wrestling, basically till he's dead. So, which I could see that totally. You know, John Moxley will be the guy who's still filling, you know, small arenas and malls until, you know, he's fading out. So
Yeah, and I see that. You know, honestly, deservingly, he got what was coming to him in a good way. Um, and if he wishes to afterwards do that, then hey, he's earned it, right?
mm-hmm.
So yeah, this was the best news coming out of this weekend, because it also, like, you know, brings up a lot of questions people are asking. Well, what about other wrestlers? Are they going to sign with AEW? Are they going to leave now, since all the, well, someone signed a very, very long-term contract. So, you
Precisely.
know, and there are other people who
Mm-hmm.
have signed long-term contracts as well, as Tony Khan has brought up, like, you know, Adam Cole and stuff like that. So, you know, we have to remember that there are people there who are, and Kyle O'Reilly, who are signed for like 5 years. So, you know,
Something like
not
that.
everyone
Yeah.
wants to go wherever else. But this was good news for AEW.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And there was and I emphasize strongly, this is a rumor. This is not fact. There is no verification of this. But there are people talking about Renee Paquette now being in talks with AEW for her to come and work there too.
Yeah, I heard this as well. It kind of makes sense. You know, she has her podcast going. You know, but like, it makes sense. Like, I mean, if there's one person probably that they can get in, like a female who knows wrestling, you know, Renee Paquette. We got to remember, guys, she started on what's it, Sportsnet or whatever it was
Yeah,
in
it was on
Toronto.
what was the name of that show? I loved that show.
Yeah, it was called
With Ardo Cal
Ardo,
and
so Ardo Ocal
yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, she started on that show. um
Aftermath.
Aftermath. Yeah, exactly. So we
Yeah,
got to
and
remember, she
with
started
Jimmy
there.
Corderas.
Yeah, Jim Corderas, yep. And even Santino does it now. He actually was part of that as well,
Yeah.
right? So she started there, you know, got hired by WWE, worked there for a while, then kind of did their back. She was like a commentator, then did like that show they did afterwards. Didn't really go anywhere. So I kind of feel, you know, if you think about the commentary on AEW, just in general, like, they have a lot of people who can talk. Like, even I like watching Dark Elevation because they have what's his name, Daddy Magic himself on there.
Yeah, Matt
He's
Menard.
freaking
Yeah.
hilarious, Matt Menard, right? But they have all these people that are just, you know, they actually had Eddie Kingston on there for a while. I loved Eddie Kingston on
Oh yeah, he's
commentary.
great on commentary.
So, you know what, why not give her a shot? Hey, I don't, wouldn't mind hearing Renee on commentary, you know, or even doing a show afterwards, like how they do. I think there's a couple shows that the AW has right now. Well, it kind of makes sense, you know, add some females that they could. Well, okay, we heard Paige talk,
Yes. Or not
and it
talk.
wasn't the best. It wasn't the best on commentary. So
Right.
why not throw someone like Renee on there who can add some color and stuff like that? Um, and you know, add that female presence around there, because if we're gonna try to build up the female brand, we probably should throw someone in there who's kind of been with all the females since the revolution and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure. And you know who she had amazing chemistry with on NXT? And then this is where I was like, wow, she's really good at the play-by-play. Do you know who her partner was?
Who was it?
William Regal. They were a
Oh,
commentary team on NXT, and they were really good together. I mean,
that
they played
okay.
off each other well, and yeah, it was a really, I enjoyed them as a commentary team on NXT. So the idea that she could be sitting at a desk and sometimes engaging with William
With
Regal too,
Regal,
who
yeah.
sits there for every single Blackpool Combat Club match, that would be pretty cool. I would be okay with that. Again, this is a rumor. There is nothing confirmed. There was some rumor floating around that it was already
Yeah,
confirmed
no.
that WWE has talked. Yeah, whatever. Show me the evidence. Right.
Yeah, you know, and Bill, and I'm not sure if what your next topic is, but I do have a lot of rumors that I would like to discuss as well. Not a lot. I kind of, sorry guys, sorry all the listeners. I kind of I think I may have emphasized that a bit too much. It was not a lot of rumors. I have a couple of rumors that I need to run by you. So
Yes.
whenever you're ready,
See,
we'll
guys, here's the thing. Krishna spends all of his time reading Twitter
love
and
it.
reading the dirt sheets, and I spend all my time watching wrestling
That's right.
and reading a couple of like news sites.
Yes, he actually gets
Yeah.
the correct news, and I'm all in there with the National Enquirer type news as well, trying to get all the
Yeah.
dirts.
Exactly. I have literally 4 sites that I get my news off of. Yep. And by nature, I'm just a very skeptical guy. So,
Yeah.
you know, I want my news with evidence and sources. If you don't have an actual source, you're a
Mhm.
rumor. And if you're a
Yeah.
rumor, there's no proof. And if there's no proof, All we're doing is speculating in the gumdrop in fairyland.
Yep. No, I agree. And that's the land I like to live in.
Gumdrop. Yes. Gumdrops and fairies. Cool. Okay, so lay them on me, man.
All right. So this segment's gonna be the dirt sheet with Deny or the dirt sheet with Katie. I'm working on a name for it. All right, everyone, just throwing it out there. It's Katie's dirt sheet. Okay.
Deny's dirt sheet.
Deny's dirt sheet. So first off, of course, I'm gonna
Denying the dirt sheet.
denying the dirt sheet.
Oh, I
So-
like that. That's great.
So
Okay.
first off, I'm gonna go into the Sammy and Andrade rumors as well. Right
Okay.
now.
Let's do it.
Okay, confirm or deny, Bill. Andrade actually wants out of the company. Has this been confirmed by any sources?
No.
Oh, well, there you go.
There is high speculation he wants out, but he has not actually come
Yeah.
out and said he wants out. Tony Khan has not come out
Yeah.
and said he wants out. No one has actually said Andrade wants out. The closest thing I've got is Dave Meltzer speculating that Andrade wants out, which is where all of this is coming from, I believe.
And
It's-
the funny, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because there were actually two different stories around what was going on before the fight, and the fact that, you know, some were saying, oh, Andrade is just like, he's honestly working this, he has no desire to leave, and he's just working up this angle that got floated out there. And his Spanish language interview, yeah, he mentions WWE and he talks about it, but he also mentions the other way the story could go pretty plainly too. Meltzer actually published a transcript, an English translation of the entire interview. And yeah, it's not as cut and dry as people have made it out to be in the media by any stretch. I mean, yeah, he takes some jabs at Sammy Guevara. You could look at what he's saying and speculate that maybe he wants out. It is a conclusion that you could draw, but it's still an inference. It is not fact. He has not said, I want out. So
Fair enough.
If you want to play the game where you're going, Andrade 100% wants out of his contract and Andrade wants to leave and blah, no, it's not true. We don't know that. It may be true, but we don't have the evidence at this time to state unequivocally that it is true. So we're going to throw it out there as maybe based on some of his statements, but not confirmed.
So another one is Andrade was supposed to beat 10 during his elimination match, his mask versus career match last Friday. It was canceled prior to the fight. And part of me was like, I was reading some stuff, and Tony Khan had actually in an interview had said, you know, Andrade is a really bad guy. Now, when I heard this, I was like, wait, this doesn't sound like regular, like actual Tony Khan. And we talked about this earlier, the fact that Tony Khan was like, you know, no comments on anything. Like he doesn't comment on anything basically. So kind of, I'm like, wait, is this a shoot? Like, is this actually like, you know, kayfabe right here? And I was like, oh, maybe Andrade was supposed to beat 10. And that was the storyline all along until it got squashed because of, you know, what happened. But any news on that? Was there any confirmation of who was supposed to win that match? Was it actually, was that going to be Andrade's final match or anything like that? Or does that go back to your first comment in terms of like, there's nothing confirmed?
Nothing confirmed. This is people taking the little bit of evidence or a statement here and there and going, if this, then this, if this, then this, and going down a little into gumdrop and fantasy land, right? It might be that 10 was supposed to lose that match. In fact, that's the more likely scenario if you're just talking about basic wrestling booking, right? I mean, Andrade is under contract.
Yep.
It's not his last match. I mean, hello. This wasn't a deal with Tony Khan in all likelihood. And again, I'm now just speculating. I sincerely doubt it was a deal with Tony Khan to break his contract. We can always play the what's more likely game. What's more likely? He was going to beat 10 and take his mask, or 10 was going to beat him, and somehow miraculously Tony Khan was going to walk out and go, oh man, you know what? Here, I'm going to rip up your contract in front of you. What's more likely? All you got to do is play out the scenario. So was 10 going to lose that match? Probably. Was this a snap judgment booking by Tony Khan to try and take advantage of Andrade and the whole like, ooh, does he want out of the company? That's possible too. But again, not confirmed. All we know is that we got this booking out of nowhere for this match. And some people said some stuff, but we have nothing that actually is confirmed. Remember, to confirm something, we need hardcore evidence coming out of the mouths of the people that is not ambiguous. I mean, journalists will report and make inferences, and that's fine. That's what they do. But when I'm judging this for myself, I have to take it with that grain of salt. And that's what we're giving you people in this segment, the grain of salt, because just because a prominent journalist makes the inference, and Meltzer does this, and he's really good at it, and he tends to
Mhm.
be careful about it, but these are still inferences. These are still not guarantees, not facts. They are scenarios, right? And that's all it is if they're coming from, quote, sources, right? Or if you take a line someone says, like Tony Khan did, and go, oh, clearly what this line really means is X. No, you don't know it really means X. Did Tony Khan tell you it really meant X? Because if he didn't, you're speculating. End of
Yep.
story. It's
Yep.
fun to
No.
speculate. Have fun doing it, but it's speculation.
And that's what caused all the arguments online, right? People are
Mm-hmm.
speculating. But another speculation was clearly people believe that the fight between Sammy and Andrade was all Andrade's fault because on Dynamite, it didn't seem like Sammy was punished for anything because again, we saw in his previous Dynamite, he actually got the win over
Right.
with a JAS over Garcia and Danielson, right?
Right.
So and on top of that, Andrade was sent home.
Mm-hmm.
So was there any confirmation of this?
No, we don't know that that's the case for this either. But here's the thing, right? This is where we make inferences again and we play what's more likely, right? You're given a set of facts.
Mm-hmm.
Fact, Andrade was sent home. Fact, Sammy won. He got the pin. Fact, Sammy was not sent home,
Yeah.
right? So you've got those facts. Fact, Tuesday, they were both talked. Well, that's not a fact. That's most likely again. See, this is an inference. I have no
Yeah.
evidence this meeting actually happened other than journalists telling me it happened. Because it's not like any guys involved in the meeting came out and said, hey, we were involved in this meeting. But anyway, so you have those facts and a likely meeting that took place Tuesday. Okay. So what's more likely? Sammy and Andrade got into a big brouhaha knockfest together, and they decided we're going to send one guy
Yep.
home and not the other one? Or it's as Dave Meltzer's apparently trusted source. And again, his most trusted source said Sammy basically got blindsided. There were two punches thrown,
Mm.
and it was immediately broken up because Sammy didn't really participate in it. He was not held accountable.
Oh,
Andrade was sent home. Now, again, we have no evidence that's what
yeah.
happened. None,
Yeah.
right? It may be the most likely scenario, but unless
There's no
Tony
evidence.
or Sammy or someone actually comes out and puts in black and white and states unequivocally, this is what happened, we don't know. So we're left with, is it likely that happened? It's likely,
Yeah.
but not confirmed.
And last but not least, Punk fans are going all in on John Moxley's comments last week to Adam Page in terms of, you're like a lot of kids around here, you like running your mouth and getting yourself into trouble. Punk fans are claiming that's a cheap shot, or not a cheap shot, that's a direct shot at the Bucks.
Punk still has fans?
He does. Yes, he does.
Yeah, no, I know. And that was a cheap shot by me. My most humblest apologies. I continue to hope that Punk tones it down. But anyway, um, I don't think, look, one, we have no evidence that that was actually you and I have like mentioned, ooh, that sounds like he's talking again. What that comment could have just been part of the promo with him for that exact moment.
Yep.
You're running your mouth at me, right? But it came out of the champion's mouth. Everyone reads into the
Yep.
words, right?
Yep.
I read into it saying my speculation is that's aimed at the entire locker room of
Same.
kids. Sammy,
Same.
Hangman, all of them, all those guys that might have said something that was off. It's a warning to all of them. I'll let you all away with it once. Otherwise, there's a reckoning. He seems to be wanting to take on that Undertaker backroom
Yep.
role, and
Agreed.
power to him. Right. Because I mean, you're not going to get a more real guy doing that back there. So, and one who just does not give to, So is it?
Maybe,
Maybe. Is it aimed at Adam Page? Maybe. Is it aimed at Sammy? Maybe. Is it aimed at all the guys? Maybe.
probably.
Do we have any proof?
Probably.
Has Moxley come out and said, hey guys, by the way, remember when I said this? I
Yeah.
really meant this. The answer to that is no. He has not actually come out and said that. So guess what? This is just speculation. Now, if the Punk fans want to go off, see, this is the problem too. Today, we all do this now, right? Someone says one little thing on Twitter, everyone puts their own spin on it, and everyone explodes and goes, this was about our side. No, this was about our side. And then everyone fights. Guys, just enjoy wrestling. Too much speculation leads to infighting. Like if CM Punk fans are now fighting against elite fans, and why? Do you know what's awesome? Wrestling. It's awesome.
Well, it's like, I guess it's like, it's like cheering for a sports team, right? You have your favorite sports team, so of course you're going to defend them as much as you can, and you're gonna talk crap about the other teams. And that's the way I look at it. Like I look at AEW like a sports team, and I look at WWE and every other organization, and that's why I feel like fans go off, because fans take a lot of things personal. They really do, and that's why they react in such not the smartest way sometimes, right?
Yeah, I know, but I get what you're saying about AEW and WWE and New Japan, whatever, right? Like, oh, we're gonna support our favorite teams. That's wonderful. Support your favorite teams, right? It's a bit of a sports thing. You're right, and like you see it between WWE and AEW fans. The minute something happens in AEW, there's WWE fans everywhere going, "Oh, look, they're dead. What a crap promotion." Blah blah blah. Yeah, maybe you should try watching some real wrestling. But see, there's my bias, right? But when it comes, this is more like Mitch Marner fans arguing with like Austin Matthews fans. Like, why? Why are you saying, like, the coach said a line and now Austin Matthews fans thinks it supports what they think about Mitch Marner, and Mitch Marner fans are no, this was actually aimed at Austin Matthews. And see, that makes no sense to me. That's just infighting, and that's bad for the team.
And Bill just references Toronto Maple Leafs for people who are not familiar with the people he just mentioned. But that's it. That was my first edition of denying the dirt list, or the dirt list would deny. Who knows? I'm going to come up with a name eventually, but that was the first edition of our dirt list.
And everything was denied.
Everything was denied. Nothing confirmed. Actually, the funny thing is, on the dirt list, I actually had Renee Paquette joining AEW, but we already talked about that.
Yeah,
that also would have been
not confirmed. Yes. Yeah, so we'll just, on the record, not confirmed. Okay, well, now what we're going to do is we're going to shift to just enjoying some wrestling. There was wrestling all outside of Dynamite this week, and we're going to talk about some of it, and we're going to talk to you guys about some matches that we think you should go and check out, because these are at, if not a really high caliber level, maybe even Omega level. So what do you got for us this week, Krishna?
Okay, so first off, I want to give a shout out to Pac in general, because he wrestled on Rampage and then he wrestled on Battle of Belts. And for anyone who knows, they happened back to back on Friday night.
He didn't even leave the ring, dude.
No. So he wrestled the main events and then he wrestled again. He got kind of injured, like he was bleeding in his back after the match with Trent. But regardless, it's just a quick shout out to Pac. So first off, let's go with I was trying to figure out how to put this. So now the weird part is that both the finale of Rampage and the opening match of Battle of the Belts had the same finish, which was odd to me. And if anyone hasn't seen it, it's using the ring bell hammer to hammer people on their heads, because apparently that's all Pac does.
It's Pac's new finishing move, man.
But you know what? I had a lot of fun with, and it's not going to be a big surprise to you, Bill, with I was originally going to say Pac and Trent, but no, I had a lot of fun watching Death Triangle versus the Dark Order this week. Again, this was I remember we were like, this is the anniversary of Brody Lee's last match. Was 10 supposed to win, blah, blah, blah. Well, Dark Order lost, guys. Like, that's in general, Dark Order lost. But like this match, if you can go watch it, it's so much fun. You see how talented these guys are, right? But there's this one segment where like imagine how hard Pac hits, and then him going up against John Silver with his like just bursts of energy, right? It was actually really, really well done. And of course, you know, guys, Ray Phoenix is in this match. Like, let's not get things twisted. Like, this match was just fun from the beginning till the end. Like, even a botch. There was almost like a timing botch where it looked like Pac was supposed to tag in Ray, and Ray was supposed to jump in and just kick, I guess, Silver in the face. But I guess you see him reach over, and Ray's busy fixing his mask or something like that. So Silver's running at him, and he just kicks Silver. Silver goes down, and then he just tags in. I was like, oh, okay, that actually worked. I mean, it looked like a botch, but it actually worked. And yeah, this match again, I had fun. I had so much fun with it. Like I watched all of Rampage, and I was like, yeah, it was good, right? But I had so much fun with this match. I was like, this is what I love about AEW. Like these 6 wrestlers. Like, I mean, who is the weakest out of these 6 wrestlers? Maybe 10, right? I guess 10 would be the weak.
Yeah.
Technically the weakest, but he's the strongest, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, these guys just went at it like 100 miles an hour, and it was just so much fun. So that was my first recommendation. Go out, watch this match. Another one of my recommendations is going to go back to obviously the previous week. And are we talking about Dynamite or only wrestling?
No. Only wrestling
Dynamite?
Outside of Dynamite.
Okay. So then I'm going to go with an honorable mention, which is actually going to be my number 2 spot. I was thinking about where to put this match, but I'll just put it number 2. If you can go watch Dark Elevation, yeah, it's Elevation because it was yesterday. I haven't laughed so much in such a long time. You need to go out and watch the main event on Elevation. It's basically Serpentico versus Bill's favorite wrestler in the world, Brandon Cutler. It is the most ridiculous match I've seen in such a long time. It's like a comedy match, and I think the problem is the commentators. Again, my boy Matt Menard, they were adding so much color because they couldn't stop laughing at what was happening in the ring for the most part. And again, I'm not a Serpenticle fan. I'm not a Luther fan. Luther annoys the hell out of me every time I see him there. But just watching Brandon Cutler come out and still in his elite gear, like he still has the face mask and everything, and he comes out to the Elite song, right? The Being the Elite song, right? That it was actually a very, very fun match. So if you can, like, honestly, if you want some, like, just have some fun, because why not have some fun in wrestling, right? Just go out, just watch that match. I'm guaranteeing you, it may not be the best match in the world, but it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So you need to go out and watch that match. And then the last match I'm gonna give to this is, man, there was like I'm thinking about. Okay. I'm gonna give it. I'm going to give it to this one. Just so everyone to check it out. Check it out. It's gonna be FTR versus I can't remember their names. It was on Battle of the Belts. I cannot remember the name of the tag team. The tag team from Ring of Honor.
Yes.
Again, FDR. I don't think these guys can put on a bad match. I really don't think so. Which kind of, I always question, like, booking wise, Tony, like what are you doing with these guys, kind of thing. So yeah, if you can go out, watch the match. It's fun, it's fast. FDR is such a good tag team. They're such a good tag team that they actually made these other 2 guys look kind of slow. Now remember, I always thought FTR, they were slow. I thought, man, it's an FTR match, it's gonna be slow. This is Bill's kind of match. Oh, no. FTR can roll with the best of them, and they are one of the best tag teams, period. So, like, anytime I see FTR, I'm always like, am I just giving them like matches because I just like them so much, and there's so much, like, they're fun to watch. But if you can, go out, watch the match from Battle of the Belts. The sad part is the Battle of Belts wasn't a great show. Spoiler alert. It wasn't that good of a show. But like, overall, like, that's why I was like, I don't want to give Pac another mention here, because, you know, Pac and Trent was really good. And I want to promote like more people watching different wrestlers, right?
Like
So
Gates of Agony.
yeah, the Gates of Agony, that's the name of them. Yes.
Yeah, I had to look it up, guys. It's
Yeah,
not like
no,
I'm some
no
smart guy
worries.
who knew what their name was. Yeah.
No worries. Gates of Agony, because yeah, like FTR is so good and they work so well with everyone, right?
Mhm.
Tony, give them more time on TV. That's it. That's all I'm saying to you. By themselves. They don't need to be with anybody else because spoiler alert, War Joe came out, right? To help out. Now, Bill, I'm not really good in math here, right?
Mhm.
But the tag team that you said, Gates of Agony, right?
Yep. Yes.
Plus Brian Cage. That's three
Yep.
people.
That's 3.
Okay. So if you say that Brian Cage comes out, helps out, helps beat down Gate. Okay, he helps beat down Gates and Happy. He helps beat down the beat down FTR.
Yep.
And then Wardlow comes out,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't turn the tide of anything. They just keep getting beaten down. Isn't that 3-on-3?
Yeah, that's 3 on
So
3.
the save came from Samoa Joe. Isn't that more of a heel thing that there's 4
3?
against 3? And I was like, what? I was like, this is the most oddest thing. I'm like, so you guys are saying
yeah.
that basically these guys from Ring of Honor are so tough that 3 of the AEW guys can't handle them. They need another one to come in and handle. I was like, okay,
It
sure.
certainly establishes threat.
It does.
Yeah.
And hey, Brian Cage, I'm just happy to see Brian Cage back.
Yeah.
Right. So
the gigantic luchador himself. Yes.
Oh my God, he's so good. He's
Yep.
so good. But yeah, no. Again, that was my third match that I think everyone should check out.
Nice, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, actually, that match was one of my my 3. So, which is totally cool because I'm gonna yammer forever about my other 2. But I mean, that match, no, I really enjoyed it too. It was so fast paced. It had so many good spots in it. The story is what was really good, right? Because you wanted to see if Dark Order could pull it off, right? Against a trios like Death Triangle, right? So yeah, there was story for days in this match. And then there was continuing story at the end too, with like Pac having to use the hammer to win. How are the other 2 members of Death Triangle going to feel about that, right? I mean, it sets up the whole match this week on Dynamite with Orange Cassidy, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it was a very interesting finish. It carried on long-term storylines. It carried out the short-term one where they didn't get the trios titles because Pac cheated to win, which may set up, more matches in the long run between these guys as well, right? They kind of got cheated out of their shot at the trios yet again. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where it goes too, which I also like that in a match. I'm going to give an honorable mention to a match I saw in New Japan Strong. Now, this, you can find good stuff everywhere. This was a hardcore match. It was between Juice Robinson and Ken Narita. Ken Narita is one of the young lions at the LA Dojo. Okay. Now, he's fighting against Juice Robinson, and it was supposed to be a regular match. Juice essentially just nails the guy when he comes out and just beats the tar out of him, like just wrecks him. He's broken open. He's got John Moxley level of blood on his face, right? Throws the guy in the ring. They start the match and it's almost instantly tossed out in a DQ because Robinson just keeps beating him down more, right? But then Narita's like, I want they want the match restarted. And so they restarted as a no DQ match.
Okay.
Yeah. So they go at it. And boy, did they go. The funny part was they had to get creative. There was only one table and one chair because they're in this like small arena in Las Vegas. And it's like, you could see like Juice Robinson kept looking under the ring for stuff and there was just nothing there. They had a kendo stick, a table, and a chair. So they got pretty creative. This poor chair took such a beating. But my God, this match it's not like the greatest hardcore match of all time. I'm not going to say this is like a John Moxley special or something, but both of them took a number of shots and Narita got his butt handed to him. All right. And then won the match.
Oh no.
I almost fell over when Narita won this match. I was like, are you kidding me? He actually pinned Juice Robinson. I was like, whoa. because he got it just yeah it was insane. He got him on a chair and some other stuff, and it was just he managed to just sneak the pin out of nowhere on him, and I
Yeah,
was like, whoa, this dude actually won the
he won.
match. So yeah, I truly was just waiting for Robinson to pin him, and it didn't happen. So yeah, shout out to that match because you got me. This was like I sat there at the finish going, my mouth was open. I'm like, he pinned him. Ken Narita gets a pin on Juice Robinson. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So yeah, and it's a good hardcore match where they even grabbed he even took the announce table, and you know how in WWE they'll gently clear it off. He just took
Yeah,
it and dumped the whole thing, like just dumped it and then tossed the announce table into the ring. So it was basically one of those like folding, like the kind of tables we were using at Thanksgiving, like a
yep.
folding card table or something, like super light. They never broke it though because it was the only timekeeper table they had there. So
Oh no.
yeah, so it actually never got involved in the match. It was anyway. Yeah, so really good match. I enjoyed that. But you know what? I am now going to turn to my other two matches of the week. And I had trouble narrowing this one down to a couple because I listened to Mr. Kenny Omega.
Okay.
Do you know what Kenny Omega said way back when they started AEW and he was really pushing something? He was pushing Joshi wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny Omega, as we know, is the god of wrestling.
Yes.
So if Kenny Omega says something's good, it's probably good. Now, it has taken me far, far too long to figure this out. But this weekend, I ended up deep diving into a bunch of Joshi wrestling, both in Tokyo Joshi Pro and in Stardom, because I went back and watched a bunch of matches from Stardom's, their finals for their 5-star Grand Prix, which is their version of the G1.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also watched Wrestle Princess 3, which was the Tokyo Joshi Pro event that took place I believe it was over the weekend, but I watched that as well. And the first thing I'm going to say is, oh my God, can these women wrestle? And I don't mean they wrestle well for women. I mean, can these women wrestle? Like this isn't like they're on the same level as guys. There are men in AEW who cannot wrestle as well as these women. Okay. It's just insane how well they wrestle. I was reading the comment Kenny made last year when he was saying, he was very disappointed in the way that North American fans had treated them.
Yeah.
I made a gigantic mistake of reading the comment section under that
no.
on a Reddit thread. That was a big mistake. And the absolute ignorance of so many North American fans about how good this wrestling is. And they're all just like, well, they throw matches together and they don't tell us anything about them. Okay, granted. But you got to take time to get to know these people. What, do you only want wrestlers that you've never seen before? Or I mean, that you've seen a million times?
Yeah.
Do you only have to have people that you've had shoved? I mean, what about your favorites? Did you know Wardlow 2 years ago?
Nope.
What about the Acclaimed? So
Nope.
how about giving people a chance to build up and not expecting them to be over the second they walk out? Right? I mean, how many people, the minute they fight their first match, are over?
Yeah.
Right. And yet that's apparently what everyone thought. We'll throw a couple Joshis out there, and if they don't get over instantly, well, screw it. We're done with this experiment. Goodbye, go home. Mm-hmm. Right. It is absolutely ridiculous because I got news for you. You know what we complain about every week? Almost every week. The women's division in AEW.
Yes, every week I'm complain about that.
Yes, I know, because we have some really good women in that division. And you know who they could be fighting? People like Yuka Sakazaki. That's who they could be fighting. And she was in the main event of the Wrestle Princess 3 this week, taking on Shoko Nakajima, who is also known as the Big Kaiju, who is the champion, the Princess of Princesses Championship, which is their top belt. Okay. Now, this match was unreal. This was such a good wrestling match. Yeah, I'm not going to say that it's a 5-star wrestling match, but it, for me, just due to the innovation and the way that the story was told in the ring, was right up there with that trios match. Okay. Maybe even better.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because Yuka's submissions are absolutely unreal. I've never seen someone put so many different innovative submission holds on someone before. and just the way that they strike each other, the hits, the way they can get out of things, it's just the actual match was amazing. The story they told, these two going at each other, there were some slower spots in it. But they were using them in a lot of ways to convey the story. You know, like there was a long pause where they would just be staring each other down in the ring because they would, like, these women go back and forth. Like, strong style is a thing. You know, when they're throwing elbows at each other or they're hitting each other with slaps, it is nuts. Right? Like you can hear the impact. It's just crazy. It was fast paced. There were killer moves. These women know all kinds of slams and stuff. I mean, there was a moment when Yuka was just going after Shoko's leg and destroying it. I mean, to the level that, you know, you've seen Serena Deeb take people apart, right? It was
Oh,
at
damn.
that level of disassembling the person's leg. My one critique was Shoko didn't sell it very well after that,
Oh, okay.
right? So I was kind of like, your leg seems to be pretty going pretty well there, right? But it was a really good match. There was a solid start and a very emotional finish for Yuka. And I was like, what a match. This was like, she got the title, you know, there were tears in her eyes. It was like such a hard fought match. I'm like, wow, good job. You were in AEW.
You and I was gonna say she was in AEW.
She was in AEW. And we liked her in AEW.
We did.
Apparently some fans didn't.
Oh, well, big surprise.
Yeah, I know. And you know who she is better than? Tony Storm.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's,
a host of other women in the AEW women's division.
you mean the AEW Women's Vision? That's like 10 people apparently that they or 8 people that they brought out a couple weeks back. Here's your division.
Yeah, exactly. Here's your
Okay.
division. These people. Yeah. Forget everyone else. It's just these people. Really? Really? But anyway, yeah, no, it was an incredible match and a great way to end that event. So I would strongly recommend anyone who wants to go out and find that. Tokyo Joshi Pro, by the way, they are actually the sister what's the word, promotion, the sister promotion to Noah and DDT, because Noah and DDT are both connected as well. There's kind of like a whole group of them that are all joined together and kind of like they can share wrestlers and events and stuff like that. So yeah, they're all part of that. And then, you know, Stardom is linked with New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? So speaking of Stardom, oh my God. So I watched their finals, the Stardom 5-star Grand Prix finals. I watched it. There were so many matches on this that could have made best of lists all over the place. It was just crazy. I got introduced, and I mean, look, I'm discovering a lot of this myself. That's why I'm giving all that kudos to Kenny. I am discovering these things now too, because Kenny was like, this wrestling's really good. And I'm like, let's see if he's right. Shock of shocks, Kenny knows wrestling. So yes. So the match I'm going to give it to, even though there were so many matches on this card that could have been given it, is the finals match between Julia and Tam Nakano. Now, who Tam Nakano is one of the current Goddess of Stardom champions, which is their tag team championship. So yeah, the Goddess of Stardom is their tag team championship. So if anyone says, yeah, I've got the Goddess of Stardom title, tag team. Anyway, there was a long history. See, I ended up deep diving on this match because as you're going to find out, because my profile this week is also on Julia. As you're going to find out, I'm like, okay, I now have a new favorite female wrestler because holy crap, is she good. Right from her entrance, she just exudes presence when she walks out, and her theme music is so good. Because like they really did the introductions well on this and stuff too. So it was just so well. Like they both had these big pillar like in the air kind of thing, like elevator pillars that were both up, and these curtains came back to bring them out, and the elevator would lower them down. It was really cool. So that, you know, it wasn't like they had zero production on this either. So but they were long time rivals, and so I'm gonna go a little bit into their background. When Julia started, right, she's 28 years old now. She's an English-born Italian-Japanese professional wrestler, and before wrestling, she worked as a hostess in an Italian restaurant. She was actually born in London, England. She debuted in 2017 for Ice Ribbon. Now, Ice Ribbon and Stardom in real life, they're kind of like All Japan and New Japan. They tend to not like each other very much.
Okay.
Okay. So what ends up happening is in Ice Ribbon, she debuted there and she moved to Stardom in 2019 in a disputed move. Like I said, they don't like each other. She just announced on Twitter that she was going to Stardom, and apparently Stardom didn't do their homework and brought her out on an event. And Ice Ribbon responded, she's under contract to us, right? And it started this whole kerfuffle, and people were all upset and stuff like that. But one of the people that she ended up in feuds with while she was in Stardom was Tam Nakano, who is point of interest. Both Tam Nakano and Julia are in the top 20 wrestlers put out by Pro Wrestling Illustrated's 150 women.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Tam Nakano, I think, is, I'm going to get it wrong, it's around 9th, and Julia is 16th.
Oh, okay.
Yep. One of the women that was on this. I remember Suzu Suzuki last week. Mm-hmm. She's also in that top bunch when I had mentioned her in her match last week. Also in that top bunch is a few other wrestlers that I watched this weekend. So pretty much between Stardom and Joshi Pro Wrestling, they own a good chunk of the top 20. But Britt Baker, also in the top 10.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. So was Thunder Rosa, though. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Anyway, so they had a long history coming in, long time rivals. Julia had defeated Tam Nakano for her Wonder of Stardom Championship, which is kind of like the secondary title there, like their TNT title.
Okay.
And then she defeated her again in a title defense. But in 2021, Nakano won a hair versus hair match against Julia. And this absolutely changed, because before that, Julia had been kind of like really hated by people almost in real life because of the way she had come into the company, and the company, this semi-inexperienced wrestler, was suddenly pushed to the moon, right? Okay. And but she had this match against Tam Nakano, which was really her coming out match, right? I plan on watching that match this week. I have access to it, so I plan to watch it. It was named as the company's match of the year.
Okay.
And Julia lost to Tam Nakano, and then in the back shaved her hair exactly as she was supposed to. And at the same time, she said, fine, you know what this means? I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to work my way up, and I'm going to do this.
Ooh, sounds like a Kenny Omega move there.
It was a total hey, there's she, because the group that she leads, okay, she actually leads a faction. She formed a faction when she came in called Donnas del Mundo. Right, Donna Del Mundo, which means ladies of the world.
Okay.
They're a faction that is like an outsiders type faction. Okay. Yeah. Women who have come in from other promotions and are kind of outside. They kind of do what they want. They've got a bit of an elite or Bullet Club vibe to them. And so that's her faction as well, right? Like there's the wrestlers in it are all quite spectacular. One of them, though, broke off recently, who was, I think, also in the top 10 of the women in the world, Shuri, and she broke off and formed her own faction called God's Eye recently. But anyway, the after that match, right, she then Julia, by the way, is one of the women that has been chosen to represent New Japan Pro Wrestling, or in Stardom in the New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom. So she's fought at Wrestle Kingdom twice already.
Okay.
Yeah, and so pretty pushed pretty well. But then she also fought Tam Nakano's tag team, her faction, against their faction at Wrestle Kingdom, and Nakano's tag team lost. So these two women now end up meeting each other after winning their respective divisions, the blue and red divisions, in this tournament. And that just sheer rivalry, hatred for each other came across like right at the beginning of this match. It was just these women were staring holes through each other, right? And the crowd was like, there was a big crowd for this event, right? And yeah, there was the moves that were done in this match. It's like Nakano was working through an actual arm injury.
Okay.
And early in the match, Julie gets her down in an STF. But rather than, the standard pull on the neck STF, she gets a hold of her arm and takes both of her fists on either side of the elbow and just starts grinding her hands into it. Then she ends up wrenching her arm back and does like this improvised STF that just looked like it was killing her. Right. There was and then put it into a hammer lock out of that. It was insane. Drop kicked her elbow into a rope. So the arm is hanging on the second rope and she does a running drop kick into the elbow. Yeah, it like pinpoint. And then just a series of amazing high impact moves off the top by both of them. I mean, there was out of the ring that ended in a seated spot outside the ring. They're just staring at each other. All right. Like there's so much of that Japanese strong style influence too, where they would just beat the crap out of each other. Nice. Yeah, it was something else. There was a bunch of series of backs and forth on the ground that ended in this like submission by Julia. Like they went back like I can't stress enough, and I can't even describe it well. The mat wrestling is insane. Like some of those like almost rote spots where they'll go back and forth on the mat where they'll get pinned. These women do it in a way that makes it look like they're actually doing like almost real Greco-Roman wrestling to a certain point, and then you end up getting holds on each other. And it's it's so cool. And like trying to fight out from under it and stuff. It's so good. I mean, Julia killed Nakano with an arm trap DDT on the ramp. Julia kept going for her finisher. That was kind of the story too. She kept trying to get her finisher on with an arm trap cutter, and Nakano kept getting out of it, usually in a way that hurt Julia. Once off the ring apron, like she tried to get it to her on the ring apron to drop her on the floor with her finisher, but she ended up, Nakano ended up just pulling her arm and yanking her down to the floor.
Yeah.
And then once on the actual entrance ramp, where she got absolutely destroyed by Nakano and then managed to get back up and then destroy her back. So yeah, there's, and all I can say is these women know suplexes. The number of variations on different suplexes and stuff that were just so cool. But like the finish came when Nakano used Julia's Glorious Driver, which is essentially a modified pump handle stretch lift into a tombstone pile driver. So it's like one of the signature moves that Julia uses. But Nakano did it to Julia, and Julia kicks out at 1. So Julia then uses Nakano's finisher, the Violet Screwdriver, which is a vertical suplex pile driver. The Scott Steiner popularized it as the Steiner Screwdriver. So it's that move. And then the Nakano kicks out at 1. So Julia hits a Kamigoye, which is Ibushi's finisher, right? A double wrist lock knee strike to the head. And then her Glorious Driver, that modified pump handle stretch lift. But Nakano kicks out. Then Julia, like at this point, like Nakano is just dead. I mean, she's been hit by all of this, and that was like a last kick out. So Julia manages to lift her up into her Northern Lights bomb, which is her finisher for the pin. But man, and they're both just like, they're both so wiped out. They actually ended up like hugging right at the end of it. And they were both just wiped into the ground, because this was also both of their second time they'd fought that day. Because they'd both earlier in the night had their final match in their division. And it was the final match that Julia had in the division, which was almost my match for this, was against Suzu Suzuki.
Okay.
Which was in my match last week for my.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes. And her match against Suzu Suzuki has a ton of history too, because those two were in Ice Ribbon together. Yeah, best friends.
As you were talking, I was looking her up, and I was looking at I said like Ice Ribbon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because so I looked her up as Julia. I spelled her like Julia Hart.
Oh yeah.
It automatically corrected me because it's the Italian way of spelling. Now I can't unsee it, because like when you were like, she comes up to the best song, all I could think about is the dance song Julia, and so that's all I'm picturing her coming out to now. So I'm like, oh, Julia,
that is definitely not.
If you're not coming out of that song, consider it. Continue.
No. Her current song is amazing. She and Suzu Suzuki were bitter rivals coming into this, because their storyline is, they were best friends in Stardom. Or not in Stardom, in Ice Ribbon. Did everything together. There was an interview that was translated by Suzu Suzuki where she talked about their friendship and how they shared everything and stayed up late together. And she had all these real pictures of them, right? Like out at dinner and stuff together, and both of them clearly younger and having a good time out. And just a couple of, Japanese women out on the town kind of thing, or training together and that kind of stuff. And she goes, one day I left the room, came back, and she was just gone. And then she read the statement on Twitter that she had gone to Stardom.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
she's like, I hate her.
Oh.
And it just, and she, but remember, she's the one who came in with her own stable Prominence.
Mhm.
All right. So when their ice ribbon contracts all ran out, and she brought her whole stable in to face Julia's stable.
Okay. Okay.
So it turned into like a war
Oh,
between
nice.
that bunch. So when they had their match just now on, like they fought in the semifinal essentially, like it was their last match in the blue division. Julia obviously won because she went on to the final. And when they ended the match, and man, was this a good match too! Holy heck! Like it's a 1B to the 1A that was the final. Julia just held out her hand for a handshake at the end, right? Because they'd fought such a good match, and Suzuki just looked at her and then just smashed her hand out of the way and left, right? So that one's not over.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's and I wanted see. Here's the thing, too. I love storytelling, so I wanted to get into the stories in these matches, right? If I'm going to watch them, I want to know what kind of storytelling they're doing too, and man, do they get into the feuds and the storylines and stuff too, right? I mean, some of the stuff's been going on for years, and it's such good wrestling with a lot of good show and moves. And Kenny, thank you. Thank you very much, Kenny Omega, because you're the one who said this is world-class wrestling. You know what? It's world-class wrestling. If you can find it anywhere, go watch the Stardom Grand Prix 5-star finals. They are great. All the matches on the card are good. But the two I've talked about are great. Check it out. Check out Wrestle Princess 3. Good stuff.
And just thank you to Kenny in general, because Kenny, I don't think I say thank you enough. So thank you, Kenny Omega.
Exactly. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you. Because you not only gave us these Joshi matches that I enjoyed watching so much this weekend, you gave us Julia, who's just such a great wrestler, and dare I say, perhaps one day becoming the Kenny Omega of the Joshis.
Ooh. So you're sure she's not going to change her song to Julia by DJ Lahasa and someone else?
I really hope not.
That's not going to happen,
because her current song has a lot more heavy metal guitar in it, and I'd much rather listen to that than I'm
gonna have to tweet Julia. She's probably gonna be like, "This is not the first time I've heard this comment."
Well, the good news is, see, now she has a crack, and this will happen on December the 29th. She has a shot at the top title in Stardom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this will be her first chance at that title.
Now, because of the I guess partnership with New Japan and Stardom now, right? Does that mean that she will be more likely to be, she'll be more likely to be featured on like all of the new, like not her, but the rest of the Stardom wrestlers in their pay-per-views? Like
possibly. She's not in the current tournament for the IWGP Women's title.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's a different group that's going to be fighting the finals at Wrestle Kingdom this year.
Wrestle Kingdom. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'll be checking those matches out too. So I'll be keeping all you guys posted on how that tournament's going as well, as I catch up with it. Because I'm on a journey to learn all this stuff too, and I'm going to keep giving you guys everything I learn because it is so much fun. I am so happy to be finding all this stuff. It is so good. We definitely go where the elite go, and in this case, we're going to Japan.
Yeah, and it was referred to us by one of the elites. So I mean, I guess we should have listened.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And we are bringing that elite to you.
Exactly.
Yes. So we already know who my wrestler of the week is. That is Julia. I have given you my profile on her. Hasn't been around that long in the wrestling world, but has trained her ass off. I mean, I was watching a video online too where it showed her physical transformation from when she first started to now, and the kind of shape she's gotten into and stuff, and how hard she's worked. Because I mean, she does not wrestle like someone who's got 5 years of experience. She wrestles like someone with 20 years of experience. It's just
unlike
those
wrestlers who have been in for like 10-15 years and wrestle like they have 6 month experience.
Yeah,
Those wrestlers.
exactly. Unlike those ones. Unlike those ones. Perhaps some people should go spend some time in Japan. It seems to be the place where if you want to learn
It
how to
does,
actually
right?
wrestle.
Japan, Mexico, like you don't have to stay in North America to get that learning, right? So yeah, maybe
Mhm.
you're right. Maybe you're right.
Yep. Well, you see, Japan's onto something, right? With their whole excursion policy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Shota Umino, by the way, was on New Japan Strong this week, facing QT Marshall.
Umino, for anyone who doesn't remember, was the guy that faced Jericho as well.
Yes, and got fireballed in the face.
Yeah,
Yes,
I got
because
fireballed in the
Jericho's a
face. Yeah.
wizard. Yes, and no, but it was interesting too because they were billing him very much as like the guy that John Moxley has pointed out as like the next big deal, and that Moxley has given him his Death Driver.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is that what it's called? Death Driver? Am I
It's
getting it wrong? Did I get that
his
wrong?
finishing move is the death
Oh my God, why
something?
can't
Death
I
Rider?
remember
No,
this?
Death
Death Rider. Thank you.
is
That's
Death
it.
Rider?
Death
Yeah.
Rider. Yeah, it's Death Rider. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, basically the elevated paradigm shift.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what confused me all the time. Whenever he does, I'm like, wait, was that the paradigm shift? I'm so
Or the Death
confused
Rider.
right now.
No, but Shota Uma, and they kept mentioning that Moxley's the one who gave him that move.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and he finished off QT Marshall with it. So yeah,
Yeah,
poor
cool.
QT lost yet another match.
Oh, poor cute. You know what? Again, doing what he's there for. Good on you,
Exactly.
QT. Good on you.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean the excursion system. Look at how much Shota Umino's picked up traveling around the world, wrestling in different promotions, and he's going to bring all of that back to New Japan.
Well, I think it makes so much sense because it exposes all these Japanese wrestlers that we would never have known
Mhm.
to North America, right? And
Right.
you have companies like AEW who are there to promote these guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Uno, you wrestled in AEW, like all these, like think about the New Japan Strong tag team they had, not tag team, it was like a 10-man tag, but the guys
Yeah.
they had from the dojo come in. I was like, and we were impressed. We're like, wow, these guys
Mhm.
are really good, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I appreciate that. That I appreciate again, as we said, we're bringing you wrestling, the alternative wrestling. And I kind of praise AEW for allowing this to happen, not allowing this to happen, actually participating in this, I should say, participating in it, right? Because
Right.
it's happening regardless. Yeah, these wrestlers that we'd never have known are now like think about it, right? Takeshita, our boy, right?
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
think about not knowing who this guy was. That would be a loss for us. So you know what?
Huge.
Like, yeah, I'm happy that we're able to get this. And there you go. Like you watch this, you now are watching, you're seeing the back and forth that's happening with the companies and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
you're kind of traveling around the world right now, Bill. You're in Japan.
I'm on my
with the wrestling.
excursion. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm
There
on
you
my
go. So
excursion. I am getting, and I've got so much to watch this week. It's not even funny. There are
awesome.
so many events. Like I haven't even started to talk about the New Japan event that happened Sunday night, Monday morning our time, right? Because I was watching all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
that'll be talking about next week.
There
So
you
I'm
go.
sure there's going to be some stuff on there that I'll be highlighting, and there's a Noah event this week and all kinds of stuff. So
Nice.
yeah, I will be bringing you guys more highlights as I find them. So yep. But anyway, Julia, my wrestler of the week, my profile of the week. What do you got for us, Krishna? Who's your wrestler of the week?
Well, again, I kind of gave him props earlier, and I probably should have just waited. But I have to give props to Pac, and just in general, like if there's one wrestler that we always counted on to perform at such a high level, and the reason I'm giving the props is like, again, back to back wrestled, got injured, like his back was bleeding in the final match against Trent, and I was like, this guy's awesome. I'm like, this guy is so awesome. And he's wrestling tomorrow. I'm again, you know what? We can get tickets, but happy in Toronto. But Pac is my wrestler of the week.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that choice because man, he had a hell of a week too, right? Those two matches he was in were great. He's such a consummate, just so good at the storytelling part too. Like just his facial expressions, his behavior in the ring. He doesn't
He's
break
such
character.
a bastard. He
He is.
lives up to the
He's a
name.
bastard. Yeah, he's a bastard.
Lives up to the name.
And he's unapologetic. He's an
Yeah.
unapologetic bastard.
That's
It's
who
like,
he
I
is.
won. What's your point? Right?
Yeah, that's who he is. What?
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, no, he's great. Great choice. Great choice. And your match of the week, which can include Dynamite.
My match of the week, including Dynamite. I'm gonna have to give it to. Okay, so no, so here's the thing. Like again, remember we talked about Dynamite and how fantastic it was, right? And almost every match was really fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that this is not gonna be a shock to you. I still think my match of the week is going to be the trios match between Dark Order and Dark what's it called Death Triangle. No, I forgot their name there. I was going to call them Dark Triangle. I was like, Dark Triangle. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Dark Order. My type of wrestling, man. And those guys are studs. Like all of them in the ring. Like one thing again, a shout out again to Alex Reynolds for selling the way he did in that match. Wow,
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So I had so much fun watching that match this week. So that's my match of the week.
Yeah, no surprise coming from me. My match of the week is the finals for the Grand Prix 2022 5-star. Yeah, Julia versus Tam Nakano. Yeah, so no, that was my match of the week. And do you have anything to add, Krishna?
No, just one quick thought. I know we always like to give our thoughts and stuff like that, and we already talked about the Moxie stuff already. Yep. And my dirt sheet talked a lot about the Andrade and Sammy stuff. Just one, and I'm going to paraphrase this from Sammy, right? Because I thought this was actually needs to be applied, like AW, anyone there, just apply this to yourself, right? As he said, he said, when you're on a trajectory and the sky's the limit, there will be people who will try to bring you down to their level. And all you have to do is not worry about that stuff and just keep going forward. Sammy, take your own advice, okay? Just take your own advice. Like, that's all I got to say. Like when he said it on his vlog, I watched his vlog today as well. I was like, yeah, that's what you should be doing. Don't worry about things like that, right?
100%.
You know where you're going. You know the sky's the limit. Just keep going. Don't worry about everyone else around you and all the drama.
Yep, 100%. Absolutely true. You know what the funny part is? If all of us were able to take the advice we can so easily give others and live the advice we give others, we would all be such amazing human beings.
Yeah, we're everyone else's best psychiatrists, and
really?
we don't want to take any advice for ourselves.
No, of course not. Now, and I'll just add this as my thought to sort of summarize the week. Thank you, Kenny Omega.
Always thank you, Kenny. Come on. I mean, if you ever listen to this, just remember we're gonna be thanking you every single day. We don't have to say it. Thank you, Kenny Omega.
Yep. But sometimes it's just good to remember and thank him for bringing me this wonderful week of wrestling. So I think on that note, as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody, and good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.